Good evening, afternoon. It's been a while. This one been a while in the works. I've done it previously, and I think I uploaded it to my the YouTube channel for Brain Matrix, which reminds me I need to upload these to the YouTube channel. And I thought I'd come back and create this again. You'll notice that the board is from a prior video. That's only just because I'm so happy with myself about that one. Probably the best video I've done so far on the overview of where I'm going with this, which is super cool. Probably the best video for where the shadow of consciousness could look, or it could show. And so this one's what is a problem? The problem of how AO decides something's a problem. And it's a super challenging one, because you don't need to look far before someone has or communicate a problem. You know, if you stop now quietly, you will hear them often just being created at quite a rate of knots, just magically by your own head. Problems of the world, you're watching something, you've got an opinion about this, an opinion about that, this is a problem, that's a problem, this doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. AI doesn't work like that. Our current AI has no concept of what a problem is. And to be really, really present to the potential outcome of having an artificial intelligence that had an internal monologue that went as hardcore as ours does, and a fight or flight response that can result in the decimation of millions to hundreds of millions of human beings, probably don't want that. Probably wouldn't work very well. We've all seen the movies called Terminator, and we definitely don't want that to be a history exercise. So it's fascinating to consider where is our problem creation and solving skills, and what is it? What's an actual problem? And it's fascinating when you go and put yourself to task on this one and really get connected to, right, I am going to differentiate between problems, like real, matter-of-fact, 100% certain problems, and things that are just an opinion. And it's bloody confronting. I remember when I first did this, if you went and looked at the video, I'd look like a rabbit in headlights. That video, holy moly, that was a challenging video for me to create. Because I was quite literally out there doing this stuff. And I realised that I'd walked around my whole life thinking that I was really, really good at solving problems. Really, really good at it. When in actual fact, there's just no problems. There's a bunch of opinions, but no problems, at least in my world. Don't take my word for it. You get out there and you test it for yourself. And it certainly does take commitment to notice our own flaws, to do the work to notice our own flaws. And it got me thinking, what problem solving skill do we really have? If there's no problems per se, then is there an actual, and I mean like problems that I encounter day to day, but there certainly is human beings in this world that do encounter actual problems. And I mean like problems that from their perspective need to be solved. And they're generally existential threats, like fight, flight or freeze response problems. One of the phenomenal things that we are given as a gift in the Western world is the free time to create problems or fight, flight or freeze responses from nothing. And that's not to say that they're not nothing, it's just that we often have fight, flight or freeze responses to external stimuli that aren't existential threats. No one's holding a gun to our head, we aren't under threat of death. It's quite literally oftentimes just someone else's opinion, and next thing you know, someone flies off the rails. It's fantastic. So they're not problems. They're old, in a Western world, you could say that a lot of our existential problems, our fight, flight or flight responses, a lot of them are not currently occurring. They occur like they're currently occurring, but they're not currently occurring. They're occurring as a response to something else. Someone yells, reminds us of our father, next thing you know, we're scared. That sort of thing. And so it got me thinking, well, we do actually have inbuilt programming to solve fight, flight or freeze responses. How endemic is this issue? And so I started doing the research, and it was a long lot of research. It was significant. This whole project was about 50 times harder than I thought it would be. And I had to think about that number. It sucked. And so I had to do the research on fight, flight or freeze responses. So how often do we use this? Is there anything else that we use? And if you listen to people's language, rarely. Do I know for sure? No. But rarely is there an issue that's a fight, flight or freeze response. Or rarely do we solve issues without utilising our inbuilt technology of solving problems like fight, flight or freeze. And that has profound impacts on us. But let's just look at that. Like if you look at the language, or my examples of it, look at the language of, I'm going to work, and if I don't go to work, my boss might fire me, someone might pass away if you're a nurse or a doctor or something like that. I won't be able to pay my bills, my kids will starve, my kids won't get a great education, people will think badly of me, I'll lose my house, I won't be able to eat food. We literally leverage this fight, flight or freeze response to produce a result. And if you look, you'll really see it. It shows up everywhere. Takes something, certainly does take something to look, because you've been doing it for so long. But it's there. A lot of our stuff is reactive. Hey, there's 2 people watching live. How cool is this? Don't know who you 2 people. I wish I could see who's on here. I don't know why I can't see. So whoever you are, wish I could see who you are, and I'm able to see who you are. Thanks for watching, champions. We punish. We produce results by punishing people. Not, this is the problem thing. We use fight, flight or freeze a lot. Now, we don't need that in robots. Dangerous robots is not a good idea to have fight, flight or freeze responses. You could just imagine a robot that can't get killed, that's infinitely smarter than everyone else in the universe that we're aware of at least, having a fight, flight or freeze response and just deciding, well, you know what, it's just better to destroy the Earth. That's not going to end well for us. So we need to discover, how do we actually replicate that technology mathematically? Because we need our robots to decide for themselves. And why? Well, we don't want to be walking along but have a human being standing next to a robot telling the robot what to do. It works really, really well if we want to keep control of the robots, and it just works horribly well if we actually want our robots to be autonomous. And what that looks like is that if a robot is going to learn every danger possible, well, that's a lot of remembering. It would be significantly cheaper, computationally, for them to actually get for themselves, like, these things are important that you don't do, like, don't hurt yourself. And what that simply looks like is, when you step down a gutter, we intrinsically know if you don't notice, don't watch, or you trip, you're going to skin your knee. Now, the last thing you want is this fancy-brancy new robot that you've got not being aware that if you trip over, you're going to skin your knee. But not doing it from the perspective of, hey, I've got to remember that, because rarely do we even think about that. It just goes in the box of dumb crap we shouldn't do. And we all remember that dumb crap we shouldn't do, because we used to do it as kids all the time. Like my son, we have this joke with him. First time we ever caught yabbies, I said to him, mate, and he says, can I look at him on the beach with my friends? Mate, he just wanted to show his mates. So I was like, sweet, you did that, buddy. I said, but whatever you do, don't put your finger in the yabby claw. What does he do? Puts his finger in the yabby claw. What do? We stir him up about putting his finger in the yabby claw all the time. Ethan, don't stick your finger in the yabby claw, mate. And it's hilarious. We put that in the don't do the silly thing. And we just, and it's like a bias, really. So you'd say, these are all the things that hurt us. But we don't actually think back to all the times we've skinned our knee. Robots do that. Now, I just can't see us remembering all of this stuff like that. It's just not computationally efficient. So we need to actually have and create a situation where a robot doesn't even know that it's hurting itself. So it doesn't have a fight, flight, or freeze response, but it's able to navigate itself. And especially during new things. Like the last thing you want is for it to discover that, you know, your robot has been taught to be able to step over concrete curbs, and all of a sudden it's walking down a road with stone curbs, and it trips over the damn thing. And now it's your $100,000 robot fall in front of a bus, and now it's got run over. And it worked very well. And the way current artificial intelligence works, it'd have to find out and be shown that damn curb 100,000 times. So it's a massive problem that needs to be solved. And when I say it's a massive problem that needs to be solved, I made it up. It's not a real problem. If I don't solve it, it'll never get solved, which means it's not a problem. That the universe has heat is being solved. In other words, slowly but surely, in about 10,000 trillion years, the universe will cease to exist. That problem is automatically being solved. That's a real, actual problem. Pretty cool, eh? The problems that aren't automatically being solved, to the universe, the thing that we exist inside of. Now, not our imagination, the thing we can find ourselves living inside. It's not a problem. Pretty cool, eh? I've got no idea how to mathematically model that. But that's not going to stop me, champions. I'll be back.